So it has only been a few days into 2023 and it was rather quiet initially, but it seems like some strength is starting to come back into the markets, especially the Singapore market, the STI. All right, and it's led by what we call the three banks, DBS, UOB and OCBC, right? So what is the outlook for the banks this year? These three banks, DBS, UOB and OCBC, are we going to see more strength this year? What are some of the key levels whereby we might actually see some selling coming back, or we could actually see more upside if certain levels are breached as well? All right, so in this video, we'll be looking at these three banks, DBS, UOB and OCBC. Let's do a quick outlook of where we are right now, what's on the key levels, and you're going to find out about these three banks, whether you're looking to buy, to sell, to get out, to buy more. Make sure you watch this video all the way to the end because I think you have a much clearer picture, right? And make sure you hit the subscribe button as well, hit the like button. That will definitely help out the channel, and thank you so much for doing this. So let's go on to talk about the first bank right now, and that would be DBS. So this is DBS right here, trading about $34.84, right? So I covered this bank, I would say just about a month back, whereby we found some support around that $33.70 to $34 right over here. Let me just draw it for you. You can see that was pretty much the resistance level where we have touched a couple of times in September, in August. We came back down, and when we kind of broke this level somewhere in October, right, started to push all the way up to maybe about 36. So a bit of selling, and we kind of like retraced back down to that same support there and found some bargain hunters coming back again to buy, right? And there was this level right here around that 33.70 to 34, which also coincides with what we call the 100 days moving average, right? So that was where we found some support. It was holding above for like 1-2 weeks, and today we saw quite a good move up with prices kind of like pushing away from that $34 or $33.70 support level up and kind of like breaching the past 2-3 weeks high. All right, so that's a good sign. I mean, I would say that past 2-3 weeks we might see a little bit of a resistance. Let me just draw it for you right here. A little bit of resistance, maybe somewhere around 34.50. We could kind of like see a little bit of a resistance right here, right? So 2 weeks, 3 weeks below 34.50, but today it seems like that level has been breached. We are 34.84. I think this morning was like 34.7 something, but we kind of went a little bit higher. All right, so it looks quite good. I would say in the short term, we might potentially start to push a little bit higher all the way to our targets, which could be all the way back to that $36 again, right? So why 36? As I say, $36 was this level we have hit in November, all right, before the market sold off and we sold off again. So we might actually kind of like attempt to retest this 36 level. So let me just put this resistance level. So yeah, somewhere a little bit of resistance. I mentioned about 34.50. It seems like we are still above it right now. I think we can hold above this 34.50. It could become like a good move all the way up to that 36, and 36 would be this resistance level. You can see there was pretty much the resistance level. Resistance, of course, was support. We broke down somewhere in 2022 beginning. All right, and I would say that this 36, that's where some selling can actually come back again. All right, so overall, I would say that for DBS and even some of the banks, as I mentioned in my previous videos, we are looking at a pretty good, I would say, outlook for 2023 this year. In fact, since last year, 2022, we were actually kind of like moving sideways. We kind of like touched a bit of a bottom. There were some signs of the trend turning from a bit of a down to sideways to now potentially moving up, right? And there was where when this happened, look at this right here, there was somewhere in like August, September, when the kind of like the green line, 20 days moving average, kind of like crossed up above the blue line, and we actually kind of like consolidated higher, right, from like below $32 right here. All right, we managed to break the 32, and we found a new higher support as it consolidates higher. So there's a sign of strength as we consolidate higher with the moving averages all starting to point up. That's where we could potentially see a bit of a rebound or maybe even the uptrend starting to form. So right now, going forward into 2023, this is still continuing. In fact, this red line, all right, the 100 days moving average has in fact just crossed above the blue line, the 200 days moving average somewhere in November. So that's a sign of the trend turning up as well in the mid to long term. All right, and as I say, if we stay above that, maybe 34 or 34.50, that could lead to more upside into 2023, especially if we break this 36 level. That's where upside targets can be revised, maybe all the way up to that 37.50, which would be pretty much where we were in February 2022 before the major sell down. That is pretty much the next target, right? So this is DBS Bank right here. Looks quite good, right? Seems like we're seeing a bit of strength coming back, all right? But just take note of some of those levels whereby selling can come back. So if you want to take some profit near there, take some partial profits, lock in some profits, that's fine as well. Or you could also just hold some position to see if you can break the resistance to push even higher. So let's move on to the next bank, which would be UOB, right? So guys, if you like this video so far, I would appreciate if you can give me a like or hit the subscribe button. That would definitely help out the channel. And thank you so much for doing this, right? So let's move on to UOB right here, trading at about $30.96. So I covered this bank, I would say, a couple of months back, and I talked about this key level whereby we broke. Look at this right here. This was a $28. We were, kind of like trading below for about 3-4 months, and when we broke this 28 level, it was a really good move up, very good signal came out, and started to push up from 28 to 30, and then we started to move a little bit sideways. So you can see right now that it's a bit of a sideways movement in terms of short term. Why? Look at this right here. It seems like we have found some support, all right, at this $30, all right, 30 to 30.50. I think that would be pretty much the support level right here. That would be the range. Sorry, $30, yeah, 30 to 30.50 support level, all the way up to this pretty key resistance level at that $31.50. So it's quite clearly, you can see we kind of like approach about 2-3 times, and we kind of like sold off again. So I think that's the range, like $30 to $31.50, like a $1.50 range. So if we kind of like stay above that $30, I think we are still looking quite good. We might just consolidate, even attempt to break that $31.50 and push higher. If that happens, then upside can be revised maybe higher to all the way up to that maybe $33. Look at this right here. So why 33? Because that was pretty much the resistance level we have seen early of Feb. You can see kind of like somewhere around here we sold off. So that would be kind of like the next upside after 31.50. All right. If not, let me just shift this back down. I think 31.50 would be kind of a key level to watch for now. All right, we can break it, then good. If not, that would be pretty much the consolidation phase. All right, and in terms of the short term, you can see that this green line would be what we call the 20 days moving average, right? Kind of like a short term trend that we can gauge from here. So when it broke that $28 level, you can see this green line was just pointing up, very strong upward momentum in terms of the short term trend. It's moved up. Even broke that $30, continue moving up, and somehow over the past, like you can see 1 week plus, you can see this green line, the 20 days moving average green line, is starting to flatten out. I mean, it's like just moving a bit sideways. It's not really moving up, not really moving down, maybe a little bit down, but I think a bit sideways for now, which kind of like shows that we might actually consolidate in the short term, maybe next 1, 2, 3 weeks. That's pretty much the same range. So if you're looking to buy, I would say that anything above $30, it looks good. If it goes to like near $30 and 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents, I mean, near 30, that could be a good bargain to ride the rebound up to maybe 31.50. You can get out, or you can also wait to see if you can attempt to break this 31.50, right? So that would be the short-term trend. All right, what about the longer-term trend? So longer-term trend, we want to focus on the red and blue line, the 100 days moving average and the 200 days moving average, kind of a longer term time frame. You can see that this, I mean, for DBS, which we covered just now, the red was actually above the blue. They are both pointing up. So DBS has been pretty much in what we call an ideal uptrend, just a couple of 1-2 months back. But for UOB, because we saw this move up since like November, and short term was really strong, it took a bit of time for the longer term trend to change, right, to move up. So right now you can see that this is happening right now. The red line, all right, is kind of like sloping up. The 100 days moving average is sloping up. I think if we can hold above $30 in the next few weeks or next 1-2 months, this red line will eventually cross back above the blue line, which can show that the trend has kind of like turned a bit of upwards direction in the mid to long term. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign whereby, we are slowly starting to firm up in terms of the uptrend. We might consolidate, and if this happens, we might even attempt to, as I say, break the 31.50 to push higher. So it looks quite good for UOB, all right, as long as this support at $30 hold, I think looks quite good for 2023. We might actually attempt to push higher if the market starts to strengthen, if there are some, I would say lesser bad news coming in terms of the recession, in terms of rate hikes. I think people are more or less, sick and tired of all this news. It has been ongoing for the past 1 year, all right, so the banks have been pretty defensive so far. We have surged quite a bit, right? So far, seeing a little bit of a consolidation for now. Okay, the third bank would be OCBC. I would say that the bank which should be a little bit more defensive. It didn't really move much, didn't really move up or down too much. Has been pretty much moving sideways, I would say, over the past 1 over year. And I think I talked about it in the previous video. We are seeing some really key resistance or some selling coming back at this level right here, and that would be that 1250 or maybe even 1260. I would say, just to give a bit of leeway. You can see 1260 was where we touched a couple of times, even in 2021, right here, and look at this right here, somewhere here as well. In fact, I think just in November we neared it, we came back down and we found the same support level. So I think support has been quite clear at about $12. You can see quite clearly this is the range from $12 all the way up to $12.50, $12.60, about 4-5% upside. So I think I mentioned in my previous video, if you do near the $12, it could be a good bargain to get in near like $12, $12.05, $12.10, $12.08, whatever. I mean, as it nears there. So it seems like it rebounded. All right, we saw a pretty good bullish candle right here. I think on this day, probably 3 days back, it's a pretty good candle whereby it kind of like went a little bit lower. So the low was somewhere around that 12.08, and then it started to push up and it closed somewhere at the high. So that's what we call a bullish candle. It looks something like a hammer, all right, whereby we can see some, I would say, a bit of a reversal move again as we head towards the $12. It kind of like shows that this $12 is a pretty decent support for now. All right, so now it's like what, 12.44. So it seems like we are kind of like heading back to that 12.60, 12.50 level. I think that is where we can potentially see selling again. So I think if you've got in near like $12, it hits here, you can also lock in some profit. That's fine. Or as I say, nobody will know whether you will break the 12.60 resistance level, right? If we know, that would be great. If we know, we'll probably just buy more and hold and keep everything and wait for it to break. But nobody will know because we can actually hit to near 12.50 and 12.60 again, and selling come back and might come back down to $12 as what has happened over the past 1-2 months, right? So that is pretty much what is happening. So it could just kind of like up and down, all right? So nobody knows when you break, but if it does break this 12.60 level on pretty good volume, pretty good price action, some good candlestick coming out, that is where I think that OCBC can finally get out of this, consolidation since like for more than a year below the 12.60. You can finally get out of this consolidation and move on to a higher phase. And that's where if it does that, I think the uptrend can start to form up more firmly, like like DBS, who has already pushed up higher, and moving averages are all turning up. I think OCBC, you can see they are all sideways a little bit. Let me just show it to you right here. You can see that a little bit of sideways. All these moving averages are all kind of like moving sideways. It just shows a little bit of consolidation. But as I say, if we break the 12.60, then yeah, if that happens, that is where more upside can happen. These moving averages will all start to point up, and the uptrend can start to form up more clearly as we begin 2023 and all the way as we end 2023 as well. All right, so this is OCBC. The key level you watch will be the 12.60 to 12.50 level, where selling can actually come back. But anything near or above 12, I think it looks pretty awesome still. All right, it's one of those pretty defensive banks among the 3 banks. Yep, so there we have it, guys. I've covered pretty much the 3 Singapore banks, DBS, UOB, OCBC, which I get asked quite often on. All right, so just to give you a quick update on some of the levels. So I try to do a video like this, once every a month or two. All right, just to give a bit of an update for those people who are like pretty much into the banks, the Singapore banks, which are what I see in most of my clients' portfolio as well. All right, so yeah, at least you give you an idea on what's the levels you can maybe get out, maybe get in on dips again, in terms of the support and resistance that I talk about, and also in terms of the trend as I mentioned as well. Alright, so I hope you like this video. If you do like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. That would definitely help out the channel. And if you want to find out a little bit more on, in terms of like some of those ideas that we share to my clients in Phillip Securities, I'm not too sure whether if you're a client of mine in Phillip, but if you're not yet a client of Phillip and you're kind of like trading on your own, in an online broker, you just log in, you buy, and there's not much ideas, no WhatsApp, no training, no services, nothing, then you pretty much want to come on board as a client. All right, I'll pretty much put the link below or around this video. Click on it to find out how you can come on board as a client of mine in Phillip, whereby we do give you some private trainings for clients, and you can be on our exclusive WhatsApp broadcast. This is where we share some ideas daily. All right, and that's where you can check out some of those ideas we share. You can put them in your watch list, and you can act on them much faster. All right, so click on the link around this video. If you're not yet a client of mine in Phillip, I look forward to speak with you and work with you together once you become a client, and that's where you can get some of my ideas faster. So thank you for watching this video. Joey here. Take care.